Well, welcome to another episode of The Minority Voice. I'm your host, Jeff Vega, and today, to go along with Monday's podcast, I brought in John Poelstra. He is also a district captain of the Convention of States, and he's going to give us a little bit more details, the mission, the goals of the Convention of the States, and kind of clear up any kind of misgivings, myths, legends, or whatever of the Convention of States. So, John, why don't you just share with what the mission, the goals of the Convention of States is?
Okay, well, let me start with the goals of the Convention of States, and that is to pass constitutional amendments that cover topics regarding the fiscal constraints on spending and taxing, the scope and power of the federal government, as well as the term limits for congressmen. The mission, however, a little bit different. The mission is to grow a grassroots organization of self-governing citizens.
Okay, so as a result of the ineptness of Washington, people have decided that there's a need that if we're going to change Washington, we gotta hit the amendments, correct?
That is correct. From what we have seen, going through the traditional pathways of bills and laws is not going to help our nation going forward. We are bankrupting our future generations with debt that they cannot ever possibly pay back, which basically is generational theft, and it's enslavement of our grandchildren is what it is, because it eliminates their choices in the future.
So I would dare to say probably 99.9% of Americans agree with that, what you just said. The 0.01% of the elected officials probably in Washington that don't agree with you there. But that being said, so now how do we go about calling a Convention of the States?
Well, first off, it requires the state legislators to agree on a resolution put forth and make an application to Congress that they want to have a Convention of States on three topics that I have just
Now, do you have to have specific topics, or can you just say you want to have a Convention of States?
No, it has to be specific topics.
Okay, so it's got to have topics. Do you
Yes.
have to have three, or can it be just one?
No, it could be one. It could be three.
So you have to have a topic. So each state petitions the Congress, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
They call it an application.
An application. Okay.
Yes.
All right. So now, how many states does it take to call the convention?
It takes 34 states before a convention can be called on the topics that were agreed on by those state legislators.
Okay. All right. So now you got the 34 states. You come here and you've got the topics, and now you decide, okay, we're going to vote on these three. How many states does it take to agree upon passage?
Passage would require 38 state legislators to agree on it. Congress is on the sidelines. They don't decide. It's really up to just the states, and it has to be 38.
Okay, all right. So you get 38. So if I was to play the devil's advocate here, because I think when I was at one of your meetings, I kind of played the devil's advocate. I said, well, what if you get somebody who decides they want to go rogue, and they propose something that's out in left field? It's still got to pass 38 houses, right?
Yes. So there are definitely checks in the system, and those checks would be far in advance. For instance, while the delegates are meeting, the state legislators should be following what is being discussed and be prepared to recall their delegates if something unusual is happening, if it was not in the best interest of the state and what they originally agreed to in the application. So that's a check in the system. Basically, the states control the process.
Okay, so when you're saying states, let me so clarify that for people, because we have this kind of, I would say, rogue governor. Does the governor have any say in this, or is it the House and the Senate?
It's just House and the Senate.
Okay.
The governor will play no role in this.
And just like when you actually go to the convention, Congress has no say in it either, correct?
That is correct.
So,
their only role is to set a time and location for the convention, and that is to provide a voice to the dissenting states so that they're invited to the party.
okay, so let's say only 35 states approved it.
Passed the resolution.
They would contact the other 15 states.
Yes.
Or as Obama said, the 56 states. I think he said 56.
He did
when
57
ran.
actually.
57. Okay. Yes.
Yes.
So the Congress would say, "Hey, you guys, we're having this state of conventions. You're welcome to come.
Yes.
You need to come." Okay. So now, with that in mind, okay, you got 38 states, and something gets passed, correct?
Correct.
So,
And at that point in time, it becomes a constitutional amendment if 38 states minimum have passed that in their state legislators.
so when you really look at it, the probability of getting 38 states to vote on something, it has to be pretty reasonable.
Yes.
You're not gonna, and I think I told Michelle that maybe they could nominate me to be the president. That's probably not gonna happen because it's not realistic, or for that matter, anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Now, where does it stand in Michigan right now?
Right now, there is a resolution that is in committee.
Okay.
Happens to be in my House District Representatives Committee. That would be Ann Boland's.
Okay.
So the committee has not yet voted on it. If they vote affirmatively, then it goes to a floor vote in the House. If the House passes it, then it goes to the Senate. If they pass it, then we make an application to Congress for a convention of states.
And how many are there right now again?
So far, there are 16 states that have applied applications.
So if we pass it, then you'll be at the halfway point, right?
Yes, that would be the halfway.
And if I'm not mistaken, when I went to this meeting, there are like 3 or 4 others like on the verge of signing it too, correct?
Yes, there are.
Okay, all right. So you know what? I want you to give me your contact information that we can put on the video, because we want to make sure everybody knows where to find more information and if they have questions. But there's a thing happening tomorrow. Why don't you share that with the audience before we get out of here?
Tomorrow we have a rally at Lansing. That rally begins at approximately 11:30, and it's basically a gathering of all of those who are supportive of the Convention of States, including myself as a district captain, volunteers, and petition signers.
Awesome. So folks, if you're not doing nothing tomorrow, be in Lansing, 11:30 to hear this convention stage. And I will tell you, because I know Steve Dace is going to be there, and if you want to hear a guy who's no BS, you want to hear Steve Dace, because he tells you just like it is. And I will tell you, I've been following this guy for about a year, and he, right from the lockdown, he was calling out Fauci and all the BS and all the data, following the science, and it's now coming out, and as you're seeing the truth of this whole lockdown. And this is a perfect example of why we, the people, need to get back engaged and take our country back. Because in Lansing and in Washington, D.C., I don't think they think like we do. So until next time, Joshua 24:15.